Hello everyone and welcome to my new Let's Play on Kerbal Space Program. Now Kerbal Space Program is not Minecraft at all. Yeah, it's amazing, I'm not doing Minecraft. Alright, so basically it's a game where you build rockets and launch them and fly them, but it is really, despite the sort of cartoony thing you're seeing here, it is really accurate and advanced. So that means explosions. So I'm just going to start a new one, and I'm going to call us. It doesn't actually factor in. So Batman, yeah, it's good. And let's get the flag of some trees. So basically, this game is an alpha, so there's normally there's going to be a career mode added in, but at the moment it's just sandbox, and the player name and flag have no effect. So I'm just calling mine Batman. Yeah, so we'll get started. So this is sort of the main menu where you get to look at all the different bits of your space program. So I'll just quickly go through it. That's for tracking your previously launched craft. That's for making space planes, which I will not even attempt to do because it is incredibly hard. Oh, you can move around. That's cool. That is for hiring astronauts, which doesn't really have an effect at the moment. And that's a vehicle assembly building. Now, because this game is an alpha, eventually all this is going to be limited. You can't just have infinite supplies of all these craft and so on. But for now, you just have however much you want. So basically, this is the spacecraft design menu. Now, today we're going to attempt to launch a satellite into space. And I'm going to try and be original and not call it Karputnik, which is obviously Sputnik. I'm going to call it Wayne Industries Satellite. Okay, so basically, in this game, your rockets will blow up. They will blow up. So I'm going to try and avoid that if I can. So this is sort of the satellite main body, but you can also have cockpits for your actual Kerbals, which are these little guys running around here. Basically, I'm going to try and design a rocket on the fly here while I explain all the bits to you. But I actually do have some... Oh, no, I don't. So yeah, I do have a backup plan if this just keeps blowing up. I'll switch to my other, I'll just copy over a design I made out of a stock rocket that I adapted for spaceflight. But basically I'm going to try and build a rocket now and see how it goes. It will explode probably, but yeah. So basically, yeah, this game consists of you building rockets and then flying them. So I'm going to just stick a... that looks about right. Bearing in mind that I'm actually not awful at this game. I'm just sort of bad. So we don't really need a massive engine. So. Oh yeah. Sorry. No. No. Okay, it's decided not to do that. So, yeah. So basically, this is not going to be replacing the Splaxus Unleashed series. Don't worry. It's just I'm going to do them on a rotating schedule every week. So, this is a bit of the game I'm not as good at. I'm actually better at flying these things than building them. Yeah. So basically, any rocket you build is built up in stages. So this is going to be the final stage, which is the payload. So that's obviously the satellite there, and I'm going to put some antennae on it in a minute. And then that's the battery, and then that's a decoupler, so that will separate out there. So that'll be separate. And then I just need to add a adapter. No, wrong adapter. Probably should have done this in there we go. Yep, so an adapter there, and I'll stick just a small fuel tank. So basically, as well as the big engines, which is this, I'm going to add in a minute, you also need a a small little fuel tank. Yeah. You also need a small little fuel tank for sort of late maneuvering. And those are just tiny little monopropellant engines, so for sort of controlling the craft at its later stages. So basically the point of this playthrough is going to be, I'm going to start with just doing simple things like launching this satellite and getting people into getting the first Kerbals into orbit, and then I'm going to attempt more complicated stuff, like I'm going to try, though I've never actually done it before, try and land on the moon, which is probably the most predictable thing you can do in this game. So, all's good. So, this is my Wayne Industries Satellite Mark 1. As you can see, it is absolutely awful. I've got a big engine. Actually, I'm gonna have, that is so awful. I want to demonstrate how badly your ships can fail in this game, but to do that I'm actually going to have something that could possibly work if it's done properly. Okay, so yeah, that's close enough. So basically, over to the right here you can see the staging. So at the moment it's completely messed up because it's gonna detach the payload, then detach that. Oh wait. And fire both the engines at the same time, which is not really what we want to do, so we're going to want to add another stage here. So basically this is not a tutorial because I don't know enough about this game to explain what I'm supposed to be doing. So just for decoration, I'm just going to stick some antennae on here. You'll see what they'll come into their own in a little bit when I launch the satellite. So yeah, this is just going to be me showing you how things can go wrong in this game. So without further ado, let's launch. So for those of my viewers who are not rocket scientists, this whole overlay may seem a little confusing. To simplify it, I don't know what that does, not really sure what that does, I have no idea what that does, but basically all you need to know is, you may notice that my spaceship is actually wobbling, which is not really the best sign. So we probably better launch. So when you're launching any vessel, you want to throttle all the way up and then turn your thrusters and guidance system on by pressing R and T and shifting all the way up there. And then press spacebar to fire the first stage, which is the main engine. That's a lot slower than it should be. Anyway, so yeah, basically that's how high you've gone, and I can warp time or whatever. So this is just going to be me showing you how this doesn't work, because I have a feeling, sorry about that this is not going to work. Actually, this might work. No, it won't. Okay, well, because my rocket remarkably seems to be working, I'm just gonna, help it in its quest to explode. So at the moment, firstly because this isn't manned, and because it's sandbox, there's no penalty for crashing your rockets. Unfortunately, I have missed actually crashing my rocket into the construction center, but yeah. So if you play this game often, you're gonna see this a lot. Yeah, you better get used to that. Admittedly, I'm better at this game than Minecraft, sort of. So yeah, you can see a flight log here as well. But basically, I'm going to try and actually design something I think might actually make it. So I'll be back in a few minutes with a functioning design. Okay, so the more keen-eyed among you may notice a couple differences. So the obvious one is these massive boosters I've stuck on the sides. They might help. I've also added loads more fuel to the bottom stage, a much more powerful engine, and I've just done some improvements to this satellite. Sort of. It'll all come together, I assure you. So I think we're ready for launch. So the Wayne Industries satellite is ready for launch. So basically, if this doesn't work and it explodes, which it may, I think I'll revert to my backup plan of pre-designed adapted machine. So throttle up. That's wobbling quite a lot. Let's launch now. Yeah, this is a bit heavier maybe than it should. I have a feeling you're gonna get an explosion, ladies and gentlemen. It's tipping. It's tipping over. Right. You would have thought after about 30 hours of playing this game, I'd have some idea of what I'm supposed to be doing at this stage. Okay, and we are spiraling very, very quickly out of control. Okay, so now I'm just going to detach this stage. It's a lot more stable, actually. Oh, wait. No, it isn't. Yeah, I think we're going to have to abort the mission. That doesn't do anything. Oh, no, okay. Okay, now that it's gone, I was actually making a joke that we could just fix it, but we are actually going to have to... Hi, Andrew. I know you're watching. Enjoy Half-Life. Yeah, you may see a flaw with this setup I've got here. So I'm gonna just load up my old satellite. That's not gonna be pretty. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna load up my backup satellite and we'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, so this is my previously designed Kerbal 12 satellite launch system. The fact that it's called the Kerbal 12 kind of tells you how much work I put into this. Basically, if you've actually played the game, this is just the Kerbal X design. I've just adapted it, added another stage, fixed up some of the RCS thrusters, and put a satellite on it. So the purpose of this craft is to get into orbit, and it uses a very clever technique which I didn't come up with called asparagus staging. Sorry for the lag there. So basically they all feed off each other, all the different parts, and there's sort of launch stabilizers. Basically we should be just fine. Let's stick one of these on. So as you can see, I've laden my satellite with various pointless Wisdom gadgets and these, which will be actually very useful. So I've done this a million times before, which means I'm probably going to blow up this time. So yeah, wish me the best, and we are going to launch, and this is going to work, people. This is going to work. I have a good feeling about this one. So it is nighttime, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit so we can get a nice clear day for launch. You see, you can warp time up here in the screen up here. Okay. So I'm just gonna show you the map screen. So this is the this is sort of the Kerbal, which is sort of the Earth. I have a number of probes, and I have 3 probes / satellites orbiting the Earth right now. Don't worry, they're so tiny, there's no chance they'll hit each other. But normally, if you're starting your own game, those wouldn't be there, the orbits. But I'm just going to generally ignore them. They won't be there next time, because I'm going to sort of abort them because they're not of any use to us. Sorry, my mic messed up there. And I'm just going to turn on the throttle, and we are ready for launch. In 3, 2, 1... Dun 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 Wait for it. That'll take a while. So yeah, basically I'm just using these boosters and they're running on fuel, so I'm jettisoning them. And this is our rocket. So basically we are now at 5,000 meters above the ground, which is very, very good. Once we reach 10,000, we have reached a much higher level of the atmosphere, so the air is far thinner. So basically, because of the fuel technique, the asparagus staging I was talking about earlier, this and the amount of fuel I've packed in this will last for ages. So I'm just going to switch to orbit mode. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're now much thinner, so I'm going to turn down the throttle, as you can see here, just to save a bit of fuel. And now we just need to start worrying about the apoapsis. Now, if you play this game, you'll see a lot of physics talk and such. But basically, to sum it up, the apoapsis is the highest point in your orbit, and the periapsis is the lowest point in your orbit. Now, I haven't got a periapsis yet because I'm not actually in orbit, but I've got an apoapsis, which is the point at which I will stop coming up and start coming down. Now, because I'm accelerating, you can see the apoapsis is rising. Now, that will go exponentially the faster I accelerate. But basically, I want this to be about 85 before I cut the throttle and sort of drift higher into orbit. So now I'm a bit higher up. I'm going to just execute the beginnings of a gravity turn. So I just want to tilt the ship to the right until I am at... okay, stop. You can see now, if this was your first attempt, you would blow up here at this stage. So you can see that what you want here is the apoapsis is widening here, because even if this is really high, it might just be a high arc and you come back down. So you want your orbit to be nice and wide as well. We don't need to worry about it being circular yet. I'll fix that later on. So you can see the fuel gauge here. We're actually quite low on fuel, but don't worry, we've got another 3 stages left. So I'm just going to let that trickle out, and then I shall check on the apoapsis. See, look, you can see that we jettison the old stage. You can see it coming behind us, which is really cool. Just to say, oh dear. Okay, so the apoapsis went a little higher than I expected, but it's alright. It's not too much higher. So at 92,000 feet, basically, well, meters, sorry. Basically, we're going to want to just float up, because the apoapsis is based on, at your current speed, how high would you go before you start falling. So we want to save fuel, we've just got to do nothing until we reach the apoapsis. But, as you can see in the music, we've crossed the border into space. 70,000 meters is the point at which the atmosphere ends and space begins. This is one of the great things about this game, is sort of the excitement you get when you just think, wow, I made it into space. It's just the feeling you just can't match it, and it never gets old. Look how high I am, look. It's just amazing. And the music just really, this is the thing I love about this game, the music all just comes together, gives this great experience. But you need, even with this experience, you need to keep an eye on things, because at 92,000 I'm just going to complete my gravity turn. So we are 90 degrees facing towards this, and at 91 you're going to want to throttle up, full throttle, and you can just see the point of this is to raise your periapsis, which is somewhere in the middle of the Earth right now, but you want to raise that up so it comes out the other side of the planet. So hopefully we've got the power to raise the periapsis high enough. I think I may have jettisoned this too late. Okay, there's a chance that I'm just going to be back in a second. Sorry about that. So we basically want to widen the orbit to such an extent that it pops out the other side, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a failed launch, but that's alright. You can see how re-entry works then. Not really what I'd planned, but alright. I really, really hope this works, because this satellite is... Okay, so basically we're stuck now. So I'm just going to warp time for it a little bit and see if we actually make it into orbit. If you're doing any long voyages, right. Okay, we failed. We are now re-entering. Turn off the map. So you can see we're falling quite fast. Oh dear. Yeah, you can see the fire here. This is re-entry. Now, you're going to see this a lot if you're actually doing manned missions and things, but we shouldn't really be seeing this for a satellite. So, you never know. It might not explode. That's not a good noise. Catastrophic failure. Oh dear. Well, we're going to go back to the Space Center and we're going to try and launch this again. Hopefully this goes well. So the apparatus is going crazy because the only thing that's changing is my ship wobbling slightly. So I'm going to launch. So hopefully we get a nice clean launch. So you know what? But the thing about this game is, even if you fail and blow up, it's still good fun. Like, it's not one of the games where dying is sort of the end. It's not anything like a roguelike. It is just, you know, it's fun. And half the fun of it is just seeing your creations blow up. But technically this thing should be working, so I think it's my sort of incompetence at flight rather than anything else. Now the thing about this game is one of the best things about a lot of games. It's got a flourishing mod community. So one of the most popular mods is called MechJeb, and it's an autopilot, but I much prefer to fly the things myself with disastrous consequences. So we're nearly at 10,000. So I generally don't use it, but I have it installed, so if I may end up using it for doing really complicated moon escapes. So I'm just gonna, I should keep that on. I'm gonna do my gravity turn now. We're wobbling quite a bit, which is not good. So this is the bit that takes longest, but if I warp it, my ship will explode. So I'm just gonna, yeah. So this game is literally amazing. It's just in alpha now, but look how much stuff it's got already. And it's going to eventually add a campaign mode, and it's also going to add, I think, sort of like official autopilots, I think, and things. But it's worth a look now. Like, it's really worth your money, and it's like €20 on Steam. It's just amazing. But if you prefer watching me just fail at it, then go ahead. The one thing about this game is, the reason I know all this is not because of detailed in-game tutorials. It's due to hard graft and me going and looking it up on the internet. So one of the fundamentals of this game is you are going to have to look it up on the internet and get the wiki open. And, sorry, I just need to emergency course correction now. Okay, that's about right. And just going to wait till we get to 85,000 meters, and then we'll time warp a little bit. I'm just going to show you a brief tour of the solar system while once this is complete. Sorry, I need to keep an eye on this because this is harder than it looks. And I think it looks pretty difficult. Keep this up. So we're now 67,000. So we're very close to the edge of space. So I'm just going to show you the thing. So there's the moon. There's the other moon. And we're in space. As I keep telling you, that feeling of wonder just doesn't get old. It's just like so big and explorable. As a kid, I just always dreamed about astronauts and things like that. That was my thing when I was a kid. So you can see you can actually travel and land on all these planets if you're incredibly skilled. So i.e. not me. I'm just gonna come back in so I can actually have an idea of what I'm doing. So 85,000 and at 80, so I'm just gonna, oh dear, execute my gravity turn. Completed. There are more efficient ways of doing this, like you can actually just follow the marker that it provides, but I find that it's actually just easier to do this. So fire the engines, hope for the best. So I've started a bit earlier, and I've also got a much wider thing naturally, so hopefully we'll have a bit more luck with the with getting a nice good orbit. You can see you just need to, it's just edging closer. Come on. I can't warp while throttled up. Oh, God. This used to work. I wonder why it's not working now. Still, we're 80,000 meters. We still have a chance. Ah, I'm on the edge of my seat here. Oh, look how close we are. Once it gets to the equator, it pops out. And if it pops out and it's anywhere at all, we're okay. If it's below 70,000, then that's just fine, because we just need it to be somewhere, because I can adjust it then. But we want it to be as high as we can get it. We're still 5,000 meters above, and look how fast that's moving. And 2,000 meters to go. Come on. See, it gets faster as it moves. So my apoapsis is actually rising, which is weird, but I'm not in space anymore. Oh dear. Ah, damn, my fuel stage ran out. Okay. Yes! Okay, this just needs to be anything feasible and we're alright, because... Okay. I think... Eventually, once it comes all the way around, you stop rising this and you just start rising this. So... 60. Okay. So, as you can see, the camera changes and we are in orbit. Orbit, the state of constantly falling around another body. Isn't that just weird? But okay, basically I want to get in a stable orbit of around 200 meters above the Earth. 200 meters. Yeah, I want to get in a stable orbit 200 meters. I want to get in a stable orbit of about 200,000 meters. So this is way too high and this is way too low. So in order to circularize my orbit, I have to fire prograde at this side and then retrograde at this side. So prograde lowers when you're at one side, prograde raises the other side and retrograde lowers it. So I want to come around to this side, fire prograde to get this up to where it should be, and then retrograde to come down. Now, I could do this manually, but to make my life easier, I'm actually going to do add maneuver. So basically, this is far less complicated than it looks, don't worry. This is prograde, this is retrograde. That's all you need right now. This is just for stabilizing your orbit, but mine's pretty at a good angle. So I need to hopefully, yeah, I'm not falling. Okay. So this takes a bit of precision, but I'll show you how helpful this is though once you've got it. You can do this manually, but it is quite awkward, because this basically allows you to experiment and get it just how you want it before you actually perform the maneuver. So basically I am kilometers away from my maneuver. So if I was at normal speed, it would be 20 minutes, but no one wants to sit around for 20 minutes. So sorry, I'm not in space yet, so I just have to do this until I'm back in space, because as you saw, my periapsis is quite low. If I'm boring you with science talk, then I'm sorry. Okay, we're back in space. The music changes, and now I can walk properly. So I just need to keep an eye on this. So we can go a lot faster once we're in space. We can warp a lot faster. So once I get to the little thing, okay, I'm just going to stop now. So I'm now 2 minutes away from the intended maneuver point. I want to position myself at the target. So that's where prograde would be now, but I want to fire at this blue thing, which is where prograde will be later on. So I'm just going to set my course correction to that, and I am going to just speed time up just a little bit until until the 30-second mark. So you can see that it's the prograde mark and the maneuver mark are lining up. And now we're close enough, we can fire the engines. So I'm going to go full throttle until this comes quite low, because I don't want to overshoot, because that's really awkward to deal with. So the best way then is just a low burn for a little bit. Okay, and then I need to adjust my course. Actually, I can probably just stay on course here, because there's no point, if it's a tiny bit out, you don't need to correct it. I think I may have overshot. I'm just gonna... You want this to be at 0 meters a second, because that's the adjustment you need to make to your speed. Okay, so it's nowhere to be found. Ah, there we go. You can see the reason it's moving is because I'm using my monopropellant to move around. So, right, the tiniest possible amount of fuel there, and then I'm going to use just I'm going to press H and use my monopropellant to just do that last tiny bit. Okay, that's not really worth correcting. The 0.1. So the target was 200,000 and I'm actually at 198. So I'm gonna there's no real point trying to raise that. So that's close enough. So I'm now but unfortunately, so I can close that maneuver now. Unfortunately, my apoapsis is far too high, so I'm just gonna warp time a lot until we get around the other side, and then we get to launch our satellite. So we're now... I'm going to add... So actually, I should have done this earlier. I don't have much time. I'm running out of time. I'm really close. See, I think I warped a bit too far, and I didn't do it in advance enough, so... There we go. That's perfect. It's not quite circular, but it's close enough for me. So I just need to... I'm going to find my target. Okay, stop. So you can use the automatic targeting system to actually just stop as well, which is really handy. Okay, I'm actually really close now. I left this far too late. I'm just correcting myself there. So instead of firing prograde, which is in the direction of your orbit, I need to fire retrograde to lower my speed. So I'm going to fire a bit faster now. So I'm now firing away from the opposite direction of my orbit, which is... Ah, darn it. Okay, I've overshot by miles. So what's my... Yeah, I've overshot by miles. Okay. So this happens, so it's alright. I just need to flip the ship around and fix it. So my ship is now spinning out of control, but we're in space, so it's actually okay. It's easy enough to fix. Sorry if I'm not talking enough, but this is hard. This is really hard. Okay, and stop. I want to turn around. Okay, so now we are close enough though. A bit more. Hey man, I should probably fix up a way so that these friend things don't interrupt my thing. Ah, darn it. Okay. Think that is officially something you need to learn with Kerbal Space Program. If it's just for your own satisfaction, which this is, I was just showing you how to circularize your orbit, it is officially just fine to be close enough. So you can see that these are within 10,000, which is fine for our purposes. And we have a nice, stable circular orbit. So because it's so high, this will never fall to the ground. The only thing it will do is run out of battery. So what I want to do is, I'm going to face this way so I get a good view for you. I want to jettison this part here. And then jettison the monopropellant stage. And we have our satellite. Now it looks kind of cool at the moment, you have to admit. But I didn't tell you something. You can deploy all this. So look. And that does it for all the things. So I'm just going to do the antennae first. Now hopefully I haven't positioned these in so badly that they whack off each other and break. It just feels amazing to be able to go. I did that. I launched that satellite and it's in orbit forever. until I decide to terminate it remotely from the ground. What's that? Can I toggle that? Look, and then it'll tell you your graviolis. That's quite cool. I've never done that before. This is the coolest bit, though. Look at that. Okay, yeah, I have arranged it so badly that they poke out of each other, but it's not doing any harm, so. And now the bit that's actually necessary, because all these, at the moment, are just decorative, whereas these are solar arrays. Look at that. They're actual solar arrays. That means that this thing, see, when this is the battery here, when that runs out, it turns into scrap and stops working. So these solar arrays will mean it's self-sustaining, and it'll just stay up forever. Hopefully, unless something hits it, which hopefully it won't. But look at that. Isn't that just amazing? And look, you can see that's the battery just up here, and it's just recharging up. And look, we are in orbit. So stage 1 of the Allen space program is complete. Thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Please like and subscribe this video, because I really want to make more of this, but I need your support. And look up my other series, which I'm going to be doing. It's Black Six Unleashed. I'm just going to be rotating every week. So next week's Black Six Unleashed episode 2, and the week after is going to be the next episode of Kerbal Space Program. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Next week we get man into orbit and bring him home. Thank you.